with his what's become a traditional annual review towards the end of the season. And I'd like to take you back to last April with a goalless draw at Boreham Wood on the final day of the season, which secured the club's status in the National League. Lots of jubilation from every department, the dressing room, the office, the fans. Everybody was happy, and everybody full of expectation for the new season, that things were going to kick on and the club were going to become established in the National League. Didn't quite work out that way. What happened?
Yeah, well, it hasn't not quite worked out. It hasn't, objectively hasn't worked out. I think we can all see that. I think we were very confident going into the closed season with the manager that kept us up. I think he deserved the opportunity to build the squad that he wanted and to put in place. But it didn't work out. And ultimately, as a club, we've always had the ethos here for 5 years now to the day that the manager needs to get the players he wants. And that's reflected across the industry at various amounts of clubs and people we speak to. And I think as soon as you start to... Some clubs have a model where directors of football or recruitment analytics put together squads and the manager's a coach. There are some good examples of that, but they're the exception rather than the rule. At the level we're at, and I believe fully that the manager has to choose his tools and get the best out of those. So that's how we approached the summertime, and where I'd been far more involved, I think, under Dennis Gottlieb leading up to that season, from a recruitment point of view in terms of more the business side and helping with introductions to clubs and getting loan players in and all of that. There was a feeling in last summer from the board and I that it was a good opportunity with so much else going on in the club to put a stronger structure in place, which had more of a director of football working with the manager to form their squad and get me a little bit out of the day-to-day minutiae of that football business. So with the best of intent, we left it at that and fully supported the manager. He brought in a head of recruitment / director of football to do that. That didn't work out, Chaz, is the bottom line. That particular person left after a matter of weeks for another option at another National League club, which isn't working out as well, by the way. And, in hindsight, it was a mistake. I wish we could have kept things as they were a little bit more previously. But we didn't. And ultimately it cost Danny his job because the start of the season with the players, with the full, very backed by our owners always, and fully backed as a club to get the players in, but it was unbalanced. The wrong squad was recruited. The closed season, the pre-season, wasn't as strong as it should have been in terms of fitness, and managers since have commented on that and have tried to pick up the pieces, but we started off on the wrong foot and we haven't been able to rectify that. Ultimately, look, extremely disappointing. I know the supporters are very disappointed. We all are as a club. Ultimately, what's disappointing is that we've failed to be better than 80% of the clubs that come up into this division. And by that I mean that 80% of the clubs that come up within the first two seasons from the south to the National League, ultimately they go down. And we failed to be better than that, which is disappointing because we expect to be, and we're resourced enough to be. Our supporters are good enough to be. We're the size of a club that's good enough to be, but we've failed to do that. So that's where we sit today, and you can navel gaze all we want and look back on it. There's certainly no hiding from the accountability for that. We didn't have the right structure or the right people in place, I guess, at the time to do that with the best of intentions. And I think, the right decision was to stay with the manager we had that had kept us up. I think it was, but it didn't work out. And everything since then has been an attempt to rectify it. But if you get recruitment wrong in summertime in this league, it's a very strong league, if you get it wrong, it's very, very hard to rectify that.
So is it fair to say that for most of the season you've been playing catch-up and it's really been getting harder and harder and harder as the season's got on?
Yeah, for a number of reasons. One, the self-doubt that gets created from a bad start manifests and snowballs, so that doesn't help when the whole place loses confidence. That probably started at Christmas time the year before, even when we were struggling then. And I've said it before, we've been a club low on confidence and with a lot of self-doubt around in performance on the pitch for a good 12 months. So that's hard to turn around because it's chicken and egg. You need a win to change that. We never got the wins, and it manifests and spirals. But then the technical side, the practical side of it, in trying to rectify that with recruits is harder and harder because perhaps players you want aren't necessarily up for coming into a relegation battle that early in the season, and you need people that are ready to do that. You've got to offload players that weren't working. That's not easy. That takes a lot of time and effort and resources to do that while you're trying to bring them in as well. So we tried management changes, didn't get that bounce that you might want to get. And here we are. So you're right, it's been playing catch up, but a lot of lessons learnt, and all you can do is keep working hard to rectify it.
You brought in Harry Watling. He tried his best the time he was here, but that didn't seem like a good fit ultimately. Harry Watling left after a couple of months, and Josh Wright came into the hot seat. What have you seen in Josh that encourages you to think he may be the man for the position long term?
Yeah, well, firstly on Harry, I think we needed to change. And when you make a change after such a bad start, the currency you're looking for is a bounce. Unfortunately, Harry never got that bounce, not that one early win streak, 2 or 3 wins and some draws, where his methods and his approach bore fruit and gained him some currency. Look, I've shown you we can get results, come with me. So the longer it went without a big bounce, that was tougher for him in trying to rectify what had gone on before. Josh has been present the whole period we've talked about. So, look, he's a mature lad. He knows football. His career speaks for itself in where he's been, who he's managed under, played under as managers. And most importantly, he's a player that's accountable as a captain. He knows that. He never shied away from it. He's been happy to roll the sleeves up and also take accountability when it hasn't gone well. So he's been inside that change room. He did a good job short term when we were between managers as an interim. But when it wasn't working with Harry, he deserved his chance again. I think he deserved more of a chance than an interim couple of weeks, which he grabbed, took accountability. I think it's much harder for players. Look, a playing group that hasn't been going well, all you want and what you expect is them to take accountability and to show the courage to solve things themselves and rectify things themselves. By having Josh in there, we've removed the ability for them to mug him off, so to speak, because he can look them in the eye, he gets them and knows them, and they have to be honest with him and he's honest with them because they've been in the same change room. And that's been beneficial. It's been very beneficial. The other side of it, the tactical side, the awareness side, the work ethic side, he's shown very much that he's up for that, and he's built to be a manager. He's got great support from David Kerslake and Darren Smith as goalkeeping coach, and they're a good unit and a good team. So, Josh is our manager. We're going in the right direction. We're planning hard now for next season, as always, this time of year, and making decisions now on recruitment. That, whether loanees or not, we've still got an eye on next season and building this longer pre-season in whatever division we're in, and it's looking likely that we struggle to stay in this division. But we're working now on that gain and to use that to our advantage. And recent recruits have shown, Josh's choices have been sound in that regard. We've supported him on that. I've supported him on the business side of that. And we'll keep going.
You've used, I think, over 40 players this season, which is an awful lot for various reasons, trying to give the side a kickstart and to cover injuries and all sorts of things. Presumably, in the close season, there's going to be quite a turnover of playing staff in terms of players going out. I mean, you talk about recruitment, but retention's another issue that you've got to get that right. And maybe in the past couple of seasons, some of the retention might have been a little generous when it perhaps should have been more ruthless. Yeah. So this year, I would imagine there could be quite a lot of players going out to allow new players to come in?
Look, everyone's got an opportunity to prove themselves. I think everyone's had an opportunity to prove themselves now. You're right in what you say about retention previously. I think the first year in the National League, loyalty and respect for what was achieved the year before played a big part in a lot of retention, and I think that's right to some extent. You're never going to get it 100% right, but we don't have, I guess, that baggage now. We don't have that positive baggage of, nobody has set the world alight, and so it's a very much a clean slate. And since Christmas and going into the next few months, everyone has opportunity to show that they're National League quality or not. You mentioned the amount of players we've used. It's ridiculous. It's way too many. A lot of those recruits and business have been heavily mitigated in terms of financial terms and things because of the nature of where we are. The players needed opportunity as well. So the budgets, we've spent more than we had budgeted for, but it's not blown out massively because the deals have been short term or mitigated on appearances. But it's not about that, Chaz. Well, it is, but the main thing is too many bodies in the building and too many people not contributing. For everyone you bring in that doesn't contribute, for whatever reason, form, injury, whatever, you're not getting a body that is. And that's the main thing that managers have struggled with. It's been a symptom of too many managers getting it wrong in summer. One manager trying to rectify that with 3 or 4, another manager trying to rectify that, and it's very hard at the level to move players on. We have done. We've done a good lot of tidying up, and that was Colin Gordon's role when he came in. His focus was to focus on rebalancing the squad in terms of finding homes for those that weren't available. And he's done some bits and pieces on that, which has really helped. Going forward now, it's around bringing in the right people to the club in the next 6 months of a succinct squad, which was our plan in summer, 22 players, and sticking with that and getting it right. If you don't get that 22 right in the first instance, it becomes 26 really quickly. And as we've seen, that can snowball into 32 really quickly as well. So that's the plan.
Some of the players that have been signed recently, I'm sure you'd agree, they've caught the eye. They've made a positive contribution and seem to have improved proceedings on the pitch, especially things look tighter in defence, I think. Could some of those players be under the microscope to be recruited for next season?
Everybody we've brought in recent weeks is an opportunity to see if they're a fit for next season. Whether that can be done is a whole other story. But because, of the level we might be at or other options and things, but everything we're doing now is using the silver lining of where we're at to get that jump on where we're going next season. And every recruit, every squad he puts out, Josh is learning a bit about people all the time, and we are. So, yeah, definitely, there's no point bringing someone in now without prospects of what they might be able to offer in future or whether the fit is good. It's a little bit of try before you buy time.
You mentioned Colin Gordon there, the recently appointed Director of Football. From the fans' point of view, he's got a very, very low profile. He doesn't appear to them to be busy, but clearly behind the scenes he's been doing an awful lot. As you say, he's been involved in trying to move players on as well as finding new recruits. Could you tell us what he has been doing and what the plans are moving forward?
No, just moving them on. Colin hasn't been involved in recruiting footballers, and as I said, that's the manager's choice and his support team, and David and Darren and myself, in getting the business done. As I said, Colin was brought in to stop the swelling squad, to rectify bad decisions that were done and signed by his predecessor in summertime. That was his role. There's less need for that at the moment. Still a little bit of that to be done. But that needed a focused role. It needed somebody from outside to do that, who wasn't involved in the signings, who wasn't involved in the business that I was, or that Josh was captain at the time, or support staff were, club secretary, etc. So that was his purpose, and what he's been doing and helping the club with, and he'll continue to do that through to the summertime where we need. Going forward, in terms of the recruitment, the proactive side, the building of the squad, that will be back to the model we've had previously, which will be manager-centric with his support team, using our analytic scouts that are out there. Josh knows footballers. He's been in the change room with them. He knows the sort of characters and people he wants, and he'll be heavily involved in making those choices.
You touched on the budget briefly, that it's not being too inflated with all the players that have come and gone. Next season, will you still be able to work with a similar budget? And the big question is, will you still be full-time if the club get relegated?
Yeah, we maintained full-time football after our relegation during COVID by points per game in the south. I think a majority of clubs are going that way in the south, whether it be ultimately full-time or hybrid. So that's our intention. I don't believe our supporters want us to go part-time. Happy for them to let us know if they think that's where it should be, but there are challenges with being full-time at the level, definitely. We've all seen during our National League South playoff season and promotion season, part-time clubs can get underneath you. They have a different motivation, and they get up for the full-time teams a lot more, so you have to be robust and strong and courageous to win in those leagues, and it'll be a tough league, but that's certainly our plan, to be full-time. And our record as a club in the National League South in certainly the 5 years today, as I said, that I've been here, has been exemplary. We've been pretty good at putting together very, very good National League South runs, and that's what we intend to do again.
I don't want to jump the gun, but just looking down at the National League South at the moment, it's a real dogfight to get out of there, isn't it? And that's not going to be any easier next season.
Wasn't the 2 seasons that we were really strong at competing in it either. Absolutely not. And it won't be again. Any league is tough to get out of. I get back to, we know that league very, very well, and we've done very, very well in it. I get back to that 80% of clubs that get up out of that league go back down within 2 years, and as I said, we haven't been good enough to defeat those odds. So if we're back in that league next year, we'll attack it as we have previous times we've been in it, and be far better for the experience and what we've learned up here.
If I could move on to matters off the field now. You recently announced the acquisition by the club of a pub not too far away from Stonebridge Road, the Rose, just up the hill here at Stonebridge Road. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, we're a busy club off the field, and we're a big part of the community. That club's been closed maybe 9 months now, I think, and it's been missed by the community. A lot of local pubs in Northfleet particularly, but Gravesham generally, have been lost to the community for property development, and that's the way that pub was heading. A lot of our regular supporters and season ticket holders were missing that, have mentioned that they're missing that. We've done a lot of modelling on it, and there's a lot of good financial reasons and commercial reasons behind it, and some very strong community reasons. First and foremost, we are very busy here during the week, Monday to Friday, Chaz. Our rooms for hiring out, we have training in here with various clients daily, and if a community group or people want somewhere to meet, we invariably are booked out. We don't have that opportunity. The Rose will give us one Monday to Friday, 10:30 a.m. through the day, an opportunity to have a door open for the community with a fire on, heating for those that may be not able to afford it, free Wi-Fi for those who might want to get on and do some schoolwork or do whatever they want to do, and have a local hub. In terms of a business, match days itself, not only this club, other clubs I've been at constantly throughout the UK at all levels and at all geographic locations, supporters like to have a drink in a local pub on their way to the football. You can have happy hours, discounted drinks in the ground beforehand. You can tell away supporters to get in early, have their own bar. They'll appreciate that, but they won't use it. generally. They like to go to a local pub, have a few, and wander down at their leisure. That's no different here. So realistically, the match days every year, and our projected turnover on that by promoting it and having it a welcoming point for away and home fans to have their drink there and come down, that will pretty much cover the outgoings for the whole year for that pub. So then we have a pub Monday to Friday, Saturday nights, non-match days. We can stream the Tuesday night games there. We have Sky in there. It can be back operating for the community, and it'll be good. The other aspect of it is we're due to move out of here at some stage in the next 18 months. And we'll be in another place in the borough, hopefully. That's all going to plan. So we will then have a base still in Northfleet to sell tickets, to sell merchandise, to have some office space upstairs in the pub right in the heart of its local community. And look, it's a good move, and we're looking forward to that.
You just touched on probably the penultimate question I was going to put to you, which is where is the planning application that was submitted for the development of this stadium and the land around it into a new development here on the Thames side? It's, I believe, waiting approval from central government, but perhaps you can give us an update on that.
Yeah. I'm glad you raised it. It shouldn't be underestimated, that body of work. I mean, that's 3 years in play, and it is one of the major solutions for any football club in the UK at the moment, should that be finally approved. And it's been a lot of work. The whole reason that's been in place is to solve what I believe, and what I heard from day one walking into this club 5 years ago, is the ultimate fear of football fans at this club and all around, and that's the sustainability and future of a football club. We've got great ownership here. They funded this club to be at the level we're at for a long time. We're naturally, with our supporter base and our facilities, probably a National League South club, on budgets, but we've been very well supported. And this plan will see us with a £44 million asset new build stadium here in a whole new community, which fits smack bang in the middle of the Keir Starmer's government mandate and strategy of more housing on brownfield sites, commutable from London, and regenerating the economy and the economy of this area. That's the plan. Local government approved that, local council back in May, and they approved that with a recommendation that it be reviewed at central government level. That's been reviewed. There'll be an inquiry review into that, which Angela Rayner has let us know, and that'll, we're expecting in the next 3 months to get a final tick off from her on that. It would be confusing if it were knocked back. Given what I've just said, it fits smack bang in the middle of every other policy going. The area is very supportive of it. Our local MP, our council are very supportive of it. It's the right thing for this area. The football club needs it, or we continue on requiring investment from private individuals and the risk that's associated with that. We've had it for 10 years. It's been excellent. But I know supporters generally don't want that to always be the case. We need to be self-sufficient, and the approval of this plan sees us that, and more so, a very, very well-resourced club on our own merits going forward. So that's where that sits. We need the support of it, and we need it to go ahead.
Tied in with that, but once again, not trying to get ahead of ourselves, but part of that development would mean the club moving away from this site while the development takes place. And you've already stated that the club would seek to relocate to a stadium within the borough of Gravesham that could be used while the ground's being developed. And when it comes back to Stonebridge Road, that ground could be used for the benefit of the community. Everybody's speculating. It's a bit of a parlour game amongst the supporters. Oh, where could it be? I mean, I've got my guess, which I'll talk to you about privately, but I guess that's something that you've got contingency plans for already.
Yeah, look, and like with anything, Chaz, I was saying earlier to a really good supporter, there's no conspiracy theories, there's no hidden agenda here. It's just that until something is firmed away and in place, why announce it and put it out there? Because then you get accused of making promises you didn't keep. So we're working very closely with the Borough Council on it. You're right, the whole plan from day one has been to try and leave a legacy patch in the borough. We so need more grounds, and we need venues, and there are local clubs that could share with us that need a Saturday game to play on, or a Sunday game. Our women's first team games, our academy. So we do need that, and that's the plan. That still remains being the plan. Some things that have happened on a macro level with government have assisted that plan in the last few weeks with regards to other approvals and things. So that's definitely the outcome, where not only the Section 106 contributions from this mega development that we've gained approval for at council level, but also any costs we might have to go and ground share somewhere else. If that can be put into a local area and leave a legacy there, that's a win-win. So that's still the plan.
And finally, just a question about you, Damian Irvine, Chief Executive, Ebbsfleet United. In the time you've been here, everybody's got to know you. You're very visible. You communicate with the supporters. You're a driven businessman with an eye on the football as well as the business side. This last year has been extremely difficult. 4 managers in a calendar year. 1 league win since April. I mean, for you, probably in your career, it's one of the most difficult seasons you must have endured in any sport, whether it's rugby league, football, or whatever. Has that taken its toll on you, or have you still got that resilience to look ahead and see the sunshine at the end of the rainbow?
Look, it has, because I don't like letting people down, and I the whole reason we do it, what gets you out of bed is those supporters being happy. It's what gives us the good times which we've had, but it also gives you, when it's bad, like it has been this year on the pitch. It's tough. It's tough, but you have 2 options, Chas. You can walk away and go, "Oh, it's not working, I'm out of here," or you get stuck in and roll the sleeves up and get it done. That's what everyone in the building's doing. Everyone. I probably feel, hey, I'm big enough and ugly enough to deal with it, and I know the work that's going on to make sure that in 8 and 10 years' time, our legacy, everyone involved at the moment, will be strong at this football club, and ultimately you stick with that. I feel more for the great staff here answering the phones, or responding on social media, or answering emails, and because they want supporters to be happy as well, and they want it to be going well, and it's tough for them. So I do feel for them, and they're doing ever so well, and a good job in it. Look, if success in winning football games was a given, there'd be a whole lot of champions every year. It's just not how it is. We haven't planned it to go like this. We've made mistakes. We've been let down. But ultimately it hasn't worked. I think, as I said, we've got 2 choices. We can be negative, and that's the prerogative of football supporters everywhere around. You're always going to be disappointed and vent that. And I, falling short of encouraging it, I fully support it. I get that. It is their prerogative, and they're allowed to be disappointed, and I support it because they care that much. The minute they stop caring that much, we've got real trouble. Real trouble. They do care, and I get that. I know, though, deep down, and as does Josh and everyone involved, the way out of this is to use that energy in a supportive way, in a proactive way, in a productive way. And it's hard. It is hard when things aren't going well. But the core group of supporters at this football club that were at Rochdale on the weekend, Halifax the weekend before that, or down in here tonight or on Saturday, they're ever so good, and they understand and they get it. They're disappointed like we all are, but it taking its toll, it does, because we bear the burden and the responsibility and the, I guess, the privilege of representing this football club and working at this football club really heavily. It's not cheap. It's really important. So it is tough, but I know we'll be bouncing again, and for those people and with those people, and that's what keeps us all here and going.
Well, let's hope all your hard work pays off, and that we sit here this time next year having a review of what's going on, and it's a much more positive future that we can see closer in the road ahead. Thank you, Damian Irvine.
I would just say, look, 5 years ago when I came in here, we had a whole lot else going on other than results on the pitch. And I said to, I think last year, and I said it to the year before, when what's going on the football pitch defines our mood and our worries and concerns, that's not a bad place to be. It happens to be bad at the moment in terms of results. And it was good last year or the year before at times. But the positivity and the hard work is around securing the club's future, is around being very busy Monday to Friday and doing what we're doing as well. And so whilst we're going through this lean patches of performances on the pitch, for love or money can't buy a win, and that's been the case for a while. We've had so much bad luck and illness and injury, and it's been I think to quote a former late magnificent queen, an annus horribilis that we've had. But that's football results related. The future's very bright for this football club off the pitch, and if we take a step back and are relegated, we'll come back again stronger on the pitch, but we're a good club and going in the right direction. The results aren't at the moment, but that's one aspect of it.
Damian, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, mate.